Fez Show, and we will be appearing live at Dave & Buster's Thursday, August 12th in Bethesda, Maryland, at the White Flint Mall.
Yeah, we're going to have all kinds of games going on, and a big pool party, as we're calling it, Fezzy, the second annual. That's a billiard party, so if you can shoot the stick, if you can play a little bit, we're going to put together a tournament. We did this last summer and had a lot of fun with it.
Plus, Don Friedman, hypnotist, is going to be out there from HypnoticTouch.com, putting some people under and having some fun.
And much, much more all coming up. All right, 866-277-4969. Fez, have you ever seen Penn and Teller's show Bull S that they do on Showtime?
No, I've never seen that.
So what they do is they go through different things and they show why the person's doing, why everything's a scam, kind of like what we were talking about before. Like, they'll do the feng shui, and they'll invite, 5 different people come in and notice that they put the couch in, 5 different places. I'm trying to think of some of the other stuff that they got into. Different kind of New Age stuff. This week, the one that I watched, they did it on the Bible. And I know that you and I have had this conversation so many times. They laid out so many wacky things. It was unbelievable. And I'm just wondering what kind of heat that they're going to take on this or any at all.
Yeah, because for some reason, those are some of the things that and patriotic issues where it's like if people get into those right now.
There's a difference. If it's the same exact people, the same people that push the patriotic issues, where we're going to choose who's a patriot and who's not a patriot, are the same people who are saying every word in the Bible is absolutely true. Good show, though. Make sure that you TiVo it.
Yeah, I will definitely check that one out.
But, some of their, they would have different scientists on and Bible historians. And all that was done proper. But then they're doing their gimmicks that, other than using the word blasphemous, I can't think of another word to use.
Where they just lay it out, they take a Bible story and just lay it out in the stupidest terms?
Well, no, they give it the exact terms, and the scientists say how it couldn't be done. Their thing is they're doing sleight of hand, using the Bible, and some of the language that they use is... I could see it making some people really, really angry. But it's a good show, nevertheless. 866-277-4969. We got talking about your gambling, what you think may be a problem, but you think you have it under control. But I guess it's farther along than I thought it was with you.
Yeah, it's a seasonal gambling.
Yeah.
My gambling season's coming up with college and pro football.
Yeah, but when we did the thing of whether you go in over your head, which I was ready to hear you go, oh, no, I never do, you immediately went, yeah, I have gotten out of control spending too much money sometimes. Even though you said you never bet your rent money or anything along those lines, you think sometimes it gets a little crazy.
It does get crazy where it's definitely money that could have been spent somewhere else, or better spent somewhere else.
Now, we talk about you're only a football gambler. Some people will only gamble on horses. Some people, it's basketball games for them. Some people, it's cards. You're not a card player at all.
No, I've never picked that up because I can't shuffle, and I just feel embarrassed to sit down at a card table.
Have you attempted to shuffle now that you're an adult?
Yeah, I've even tried to maybe I'll just carry a pack of cards and just when I'm by myself, just kind of try shuffling. But you see these fingers; they're popcorn shrimp at best.
Yeah, but I've seen dealers' hands, and it's not like it takes something really interesting to do to be able to shuffle cards. It's not a skill. Children can do it.
So, that's my first thing with cards. And then there's any sort of math involved where I'm looking at numbers. Forget it.
Yet, at the same time, you have no problem with your football numbers. You're crazy about them. You know every stat you possibly could know in football.
I have a lot of trouble when I don't know if someone's covering the spread. It's really close. I have to break out a calculator for that.
All right, 866-277-4969. 866-277-4969. Dubs brought up to me, maybe we ought to do a pool here, an illegal pool during the weekends. Now, we do run one pool here at the station, but that's on that ESPN Cutthroat game, right?
Oh, yeah, the elimination pool?
Is that what it's called? Because what do they call it on ESPN, Dubs?
I believe it's cutthroat.
Is it cutthroat? I know there's a couple different names for it. And that is you can only have one loss and then everybody wins the money. But maybe we could get a regular pool going here every Friday like we used to do.
Yeah, we should definitely be able to. There's enough people, and there's enough people that enjoy football and gambling.
Dubs, why don't you ask around with a lot of the salespeople, see how many we could possibly get into a pool as we start the season.
Yeah, I'll take their temperatures on that.
Yeah, take the temps. Take the temps. I like that angle. Dubs, you gamble football, right?
I mostly just do the fantasy football, which is fairly cheap for the whole season. You do like $100, and that covers the whole season.
That covers the whole season?
Yeah.
And do you not, are you able to buy your way back into it? What do you win at the end of it?
Well, for fantasy football, you're in it the whole season, and you're just trying to build up your team and make it to the playoffs. You have, if you have like a 10-person league, you have like a 4-person playoff at the end. And for weeks 14 or 15 and 16, you're doing a playoff, and whoever comes out the winner wins all the money. And sometimes you do like the highest scorer of the league gets a smaller pot as well.
Would you be in a pool with us every week if we did it like for $5-10?
Definitely.
Just like just a small amount. Because if you do too much money, then you start dropping off, and then you find yourself, at like if you're doing $20, by the time half the people will be gone within 6 weeks, and you're going to find yourself in a pool with 8 other people. And that's frustrating.
Well, I felt good last season when I won the elimination pool here at the station.
That was a biggie. How much did you pull in, allegedly? For $10?
$1,800 for $10.
Wow, that's a big one.
So, and I think it was like $150, $175 in buybacks because I got knocked out on the first week and just kept buying my way back in for as long as I could.
Yeah, now a lot of those pools, like the cutthroat or elimination pools, you can't buy back, right?
I think it's I think it's for the first few weeks.
Yeah.
And then you're done.
I know on the ESPN one, they just cut it off as soon as the last person's in. And if they only have like 4 or 5 guys, it won't go on that long. Hey, Jafter, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, what's up? Yeah, we do the same thing here at work, with the, like we call it King of the Hill or Last Man Standing.
Right.
And each week you pick one team, but you can't pick the same team twice in the season.
Yeah, that's the same as this. So you've got to be very, very careful about when you use, let's say this year, your Patriot bet. You don't want to suddenly go, okay, the Patriots are playing an easy team. I'm going to pick them right off the bat.
Yeah, you don't want to get to the point where it's like, oh, do I go with the Chargers or the Cardinals?
Or the Bucks,
All right, Jafter.
But we never play buybacks. But a lot of times we'll go like 8 weeks, and then it'll be over, and then we'll just start another one up for the second half of the season.
Yeah, that's not too bad either, having the second half of the season. Because how far of it did you win, Fez?
I don't think we went halfway through the season.
It wasn't even that long?
I don't think so, because people started dropping out really fast. A lot of people went out on the first day.
Yeah.
The first
I
week.
went in on your league. No.
And also, when people would drop out, they would all drop out on the same team. Did you notice that? The first week, the problem was the Dolphins got upset.
Dolphins against the Texans, and everyone just went Miami.
Miami normally starts pretty strong, too.
Then they have the implosion at the end of the season or in the playoffs.
I think we could set something like that up on like Yahoo or something. They have all these different leagues where you can either do like a pick'em league or anything like that. We can have like a Ron Fez one where anyone can join in.
Well, we cannot ask people to
not to gamble money, just for bragging rights. You just say, all right, who throughout the season has the best record? And
well, you know what? I mean, we probably could do a deal where we give a prize away.
Right, the person with the best score by the end of the season.
Yeah, where no one's putting up anything of their own.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know how that works out. They get so panicked when any kind of fun game is too close to gambling.
Kind of like our poker game that we never had again.
We are doing the pool tournament again if you want to be involved with that, Jafter.
Definitely.
All right, Dubs will get a hold of you tomorrow.
All right, sounds good.
Okay, my friend.
All right, see you.
See it.
Now, I've also seen the elimination pools done another way where it's like you have to pick a sure bet loser every week. And it's the same thing. You're just working backwards.
You've got to pick it's the same exact thing because it's still just gambling. It's still just betting.
Now, what will get me every week, and I always go into a new season saying I'm not going to do this, is teasers. Where you're getting the extra points and you're betting 3 games, but they all have to come in with extra points on either side of the spread.
Right.
So, and it always looks really, really good when like an NFL team is going to get 21 points or something.
Right. What's the most you've ever bet on a football game?
2,000.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the most. I was really, really sure about that.
Wow, man. That's starting to get a little crazy, brother, when you're betting $2,000. That's a lot of money.
But that's my entertainment money. That's the way I look at it.
You're saying that's the money you would do for a boat.
Yeah, I'm not going to go out on a boat. I'm not going to buy a boat.
Right. So guys go out if they buy a boat or an extra vacation home. This is what that would be like for you.
Yeah, that's my vacation money.
All right, let me just say, Fez, Dubs, do you trust that, or is that just degenerate gambling cover-up talk?
That's definitely cover-up talk.
Yeah, because I started to buy it, and then I thought, wait a minute, that sounds like cover-up talk.
But I would assume that if I was a gambling addict, that it would be going on all year round, where I wouldn't be able to keep it to seasonal, where I would have to bet on hockey and basketball.
But the difference is, if football was all year round, you would be betting football all year round. The reason why you stop is because the thing that your real passion is about stops. Like you and I have a good friend. He's into horses. He doesn't go out and bet football. He doesn't bet basketball. But you and I know he's a degenerate gambler and he's got problems. And I mean, way out of your league because he has to, borrow money from Paul to pay Peter and everything like that. But it doesn't mean because he doesn't bet on everything doesn't mean that he's not a degenerate. Or maybe I'm wrong. 866-277-4969. I think there also has to be a cutoff. And I think $2,000 is too high to not act like you're getting into dangerous territory.
Well, if I'm not losing anything like the rent money or the car or the house or anything.
I understand that. I'm not saying, but you could say the same thing if a guy was an alcoholic. And you know he's an alcoholic and you have friends like this.
Right.
And he'll go, hey, I still got my job. I'm still with my wife. But it doesn't mean the guy's not sliding down the hill when you can see it. I'm thinking there's got to be a cutoff point where something starts to sound like that's too much money to be gambling. And $2,000 to me on one game. It's not like you're going to Vegas for a weekend with $2,000. Let's see what happens. Your $2,000, you're either going to double it or it's going to be gone in a couple of hours.
I never win at Vegas.
866-277-4969. Here is Laurie. You're on Run of Fez.
I think that Fezzi's like a manic depressive gambler.
You think so?
He gets through football season. He's high, whether win or lose, and then it's like that's his fix. And he that way he doesn't have to gamble hockey or anything else.
I'll tell you something else, Laura.
Sitting there thinking about next season.
This guy, after the Super Bowl last year, was a depressive mess, and that started all of his problems.
That's true, man. That season, I remember saying to you week 1 last year, how soon, this season's just about over.
And I'm like, what are you talking about?
And I'm like, well, don't blink. It's going to be done. And that was after the week 1 games.
That's how I feel every time the Chargers play.
It's already done?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right about that. And, honey, I think it's just going to get worse. I got to tell you the truth.
Life went down the drain after, the minute they walked into the Super Bowl.
All right, we'll talk to you later.
Bye.
866-277-4969. 866-277-4969. Here's Chris. You're on the Ron and Fez show.
Hey, just a little different twist on the office pool.
Yeah.
In my office, if you lose, you get your money back in a frame with a certificate that says you're a loser.
Now, how much money are you putting in?
You're talking the $100 fantasy deal or the $1 or $5 a week, We do eliminate. We
See,
do
that's
it all.
why I can't gamble with friends, because then it's acting like, it was all just done fun. And, you're trying to have a gambling experience.
Well,
yeah, you want to pick up that pot, not frame gag gifts.
Yeah, I don't want to make my friends do something stupid. I'd rather have cash.
It's the whole, don't think they don't hear about it for the whole year that they got their money back.
Who cares?
On that end of it.
Who
They
cares?
hear about it every week. I want the moolah.
I'd rather... now he's calling it moolah. At least say cheddar. All right? At least move into this decade. Moolah is like 1920s. 866-277-4969. 866-277-4969. Hey, Dave, you're on Ron and Fez.
$2,000 isn't a lot to gamble on a football game.
You don't think so?
Depends on what you make.
Well, I mean, Fez does okay with his money, but $2,000 a game, that's a little bit stiff, I think.
If you're making $10,000 or $10,000 a month, $2,000 a game, it may be a little bit high. But if you're making $25,000-$30,000 a month, $2,000 a game's a drop in the bucket.
All right, Dave, are you a gambler?
I've played some football and some roulette and a little bit of cards.
But you don't think you have a problem?
No.
What's the biggest losses you've ever had before?
Lost a couple hundred on a football game.
Yeah, that's not too bad. See, a couple of hundred to me, it seems like that's...
Yeah, but I don't make a lot of money.
Yeah. So if the more money you met, the higher you would bet.
So it's all relative.
Yeah, it's all relative. I mean, Larry Flint drops $30,000 on a hand of blackjack. He doesn't cry about it because he's not going broke.
Yeah, right.
But if I drop $30,000 on a hand of blackjack, that's a good chunk of the rent for the year.
All right, thank you, my friend. Here's our friend Jason from Dead Money Poker Club. How are you, Jason?
Hey, what's going on, boys? How you doing?
How you doing, my buddy?
I'm doing fantastic. Hey, $2,000, that's a decent amount, It's not too much. I think it's a good amount for Fez to be spending on a game.
Jason, now you're a professional poker player, right?
Yeah.
What's the biggest pot you've ever been involved in?
The biggest pot I've ever taken home, one single pot, was $48,000.
Jesus.
That's a big pot.
I mean, I know that you're a good poker player, but what is happening inside when you're looking at that pot?
Well, the thing is that when you get to that level, you stop really thinking about it as money while you're at the table. You just think about it as a big stack of chips.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you sit there and you think about, God, I got $24,000 of my own money in this pot, then it doesn't seem like it. You might let a little emotion get into your game.
Now, do you not mess with your stake money? Do you always keep that as an investment out there? I mean,
absolutely. And matter of fact, my wife had a really big problem with this when we first started, dating.
Yeah.
When we got married, because I would have a big roll of money, and the rent might be tight, but I'd have a big roll of money, and I was like, well, that's the stake money,
Right.
The money doesn't come in if I touch that, so. But she's gotten used to it, and, I'm not a bad player, so.
Now, you've been around a lot of different casinos and stuff. What makes somebody a degenerate? When do you know that somebody's got a gambling problem?
I know people that have maxed out all of their credit cards, getting cash advances to play poker.
Right.
I know people that have borrowed money from really the wrong kind of people.
Right.
And then obviously the person is that when they sit down with that stake and they're like, and they lose the whole amount and they're like, well, if I put twice as much in, I can still come out a winner tonight. Really, when you're doing that, you're over your head.
See, I start to get those feelings. I always feel I can make it up.
Hey, you've got a pretty good record with it. I think you'll do all right. 2,000 a game. That's not too bad.
Well, I'm a little nervous. All right, thanks, Jace.
No problem, guys.
Talk to you later, buddy. Here's Al. Al, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead, Al.
Yeah, I got a good way to find out if Fez has really got a problem. Why don't you bet him that he can't bet on football all year?
What do you do? What do you say to that, Fez? $10,000, and I say as long as you don't make a bet.
$10,000 as long as I don't make a bet?
Yeah.
I can't do that. I love too forward to it.
That sounds like a problem to me.
I have too much fun doing it. And I could never just sit there and pretend.
Well, he just said it's for the moolah.
I know. I thought, what about your moolah? Here's your chance to come out a $10,000 winner for the season.
I would rather play the game and lose.
Ah.
That sounds like a degenerate. That's certainly not a businessman.
I would rather have my fun.
Fun losing. All right, there you have it, Al. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks.
Now you have pointed it out. Here's a man with yet another problem. Fez Whatley has found yet another thing that's a problem with his moral fiber. Jamie, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, Ron. Hey, Fez, the degenerate. First of all, I can't because he's a professional. But I had a buddy who bet only on basketball throughout all of college. After we got out of college, he went to Vegas a couple times, and one time he came back from Vegas, and he had to sell his house to get out of debt from the debt that he incurred in Vegas. And he would have told you just a week before he left that he had no problem that he only, I only bet on basketball, go to Vegas once a year, and he lost his house. So, Fez, it's a slippery slope there, buddy.
You're on a slippery slope, Fez.
But I'm wearing good shoes. I'm not going to slide all the way down.
You're wearing good shoes, good Sunday shoes. They're slippery on the bottom. All right, there's no talking out of it, but it'll be interesting. Just keep doubling up. That's the main thing to do. Double up every time you lose.
So hopefully I get to the point on a weekend where instead of, I always think about doubling up, but then I hopefully get to that point where I'm like, oh, just screw it and start fresh next week.
Here's the interesting thing about Fez, because your thing was that's your fun. I've watched games with you. You look like you're being harpooned. You look like you're being shot. You start moaning in the first quarter, saying we stink, it's over, there's no way we can come back. It does not look like fun.
I'll tell you what, late on a Saturday night when I've got some West Coast college games going on, I find myself just screaming for a team that I probably know nothing about whatsoever. I'm cheering and living and dying with the Utah Utes.
Yeah.
Like I went there to school.
Yeah, well, that's the thing about money. It will change the way people feel. Hey, John, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hello.
Yeah, how are you?
Hi, Ron. Hi, Fez.
Yeah.
One thing I've observed, even with people that do slot machines, is they never mention when they lose. It's always the positive side of when they win. I won $200, won $500, $1,000. But when they lose, you never really hear.
And no one ever goes, hey, I won $500, but I'm still $1,100 in the hole. They come back and say, I won $500.
Yeah.
And that's what I think Fez's head is, too.
She's a very good person. She didn't have any problem, but she had money, and she would spend a lot of it at the casino in the slot machines and come back. I won $2,500, John. I won $2,500, and then, week after week, you wouldn't hear anything, and then you're losing. But
and then you're like, hey, how'd you win that money? This is great. You know what I mean? Like, and we do that with Fez. But, we never hear about when he loses. And here he is. He just tells us he's betting deep into Saturday night on the Utah Utes, which you just said, a team you know nothing about, and yet you're going to put a bet down on them.
Yeah, because it's, that's what you get for the late games.
It's action. Just like if you're a sexaholic, you're out 3 o'clock in the morning, and you're meeting crack whores on the street. That's your version of a crack whore.
Utah.
And I think they are. The Utah crack whores. All right, we're going to take a break here. We'll be back in just a few moments. It's the Ron and Fez Show.